Hello, class. It is I, your humble narrator, the dead deer's head on the wall. There's not much that you have to know about me except that I'm a dead deer's head. I was shot in the butt and now I'm mounted in Kaylee McIntyre's house. It smells funny sometimes, but I make it okay. I have a knack for storytelling sitting here on the wall all the time, and I'm ready to tell you a story about Huck Finn. As it starts out, Huck meets Tom's wagon coming down the road. Tom at first is startled by the ghost, believing that Huck was murdered back in St. Petersburg. But he's eventually convinced that Huck is actually alive.
Now hold on, I ain't never done you no harm. You know that. So then, what you want to come back and haunt me for?
I ain't come back. I ain't been gone.
Don't you play nothing on me, 'cause I wouldn't play nothing on you. Honest, you ain't a ghost?
Honest, I ain't.
Well, that ought to settle it, of course. But I can't somehow seem to understand it no way. Looky here, weren't you ever murdered at all?
No, I weren't ever murdered at all. I played it on them. Tom even agrees to help Huck free Jim. Huck is shocked by Tom's willingness to do something so wrong by society's standards. Tom Sawyer fell considerable in my estimation, he tells us. Tom follows Huck to the Phelps house half an hour later. The isolated family is thrilled to have another guest. Tom introduces himself as William Thompson from Ohio, stopping on his way to visit his uncle nearby. Mr. Archibald Nicholas, I presume.
No, my boy. I'm sorry to say your driver has deceived you. Nicholas's place is down a matter of 3 miles. Come in. You must come in and eat dinner with us. Then we'll take you down.
Oh, I can't make you so much trouble. I couldn't think of it. I'll walk. I don't mind the distance.
But we wouldn't let you walk. It wouldn't be Southern hospitality. Oh, do. It ain't a bit of trouble. You must stay.
Hooray! The lively Tom leans over and kisses his aunt in the middle of dinner, and she nearly slaps the boy thinking that he is an impolite stranger. Laughing,
Ha 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 ha!
Tom pretends that he is his own half-brother Sid. The two boys wait for Sally and Silius to mention the runaway slave supposedly being held on their property, but the adults say nothing. However, when one of Sally and Silius's boys asks to see the show passing through town, the Duke and the Dauphin, Silius says that the runaway alerted him to the fact that the show was a con. That night, Huck and Tom sneak out of the house. As they walk on the road, they see a mob of townspeople running the Duke and the Dauphin, tarred and feathered, out of the town on a rail. Huck feels bad for the two, and his ill feelings for them melt away. Tom figures out that Jim is being held in the shed. Huck comes up with a plan to free Jim, but Tom rejects it for its lack of flash. Tom comes up with a more elaborate plan. Huck and Tom get Jim's keeper, a superstitious slave, to let them see Jim. When Jim cries out in recognition, Tom protects their secret by tricking Jim's keeper into thinking the cry was the work of witches.
That was a witch!
Tom and Huck propose to dig Jim out and begin to make preparations. Now after all this happened, Tom was just a little bit disappointed that with so few precautions taken to guard Jim. He says that they have to invent all the obstacles needed for Jim's rescue. Tom says that they must saw off Jim's chains instead of just lifting him off, because that's the way it's done in the books. He also says they need a rope ladder, a moat, and a shirt for Jim to keep his journal on, preferably in his own blood. Sawing his leg off would also be a nice touch, but they are pressed for time. Thank God for old Jim. After all the plans, Tom gets mad at Huck for stealing a watermelon from the slave's garden. He tells him to give him a dime for it.
So ends this portion of The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn.
And both the boys went on to have very successful lives. But poor old Jim, he just ended up back in the deep south with those white cotton-picking folks. Thus ends the story of Huckleberry Finn.
Now that's not how it goes. Jim went on to have a successful career in the NBA.
You're both full of crap! So there was Huck, right? Just minding his own business, walking through the forest, and then a ninja came! And the dinosaur! That's how Huck died.
I'll say sorry, but I'm not taking off my glasses.